اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. قال سيد الشيخ الأكبر: الحديث السادس. حدثنا محمد القاسم عن عمر بن عبد المجيد عن محمد بن حامد المقدسي عن محمد بن القلانسي عن أبي سعيد الخليل بن أحمد السجزي عن أبي سعيد محمد بن الحسن بن علي البيع عن أبي بكر محمد بن الحسن عن عمه إسحاق بن علي عن محمد مسلم عن محمد بن خالد عن سواد بن عاصم عن عاصم عن طلحة عن مالك عن مكحول عن أبي بكر الصديق رضي الله عنه وقال: بالله العظيم لقد حدثني محمد المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم وقال: بالله العظيم لقد حدثني جبريل صلى الله عليه السلام وقال: بالله العظيم لقد حدثني ميكائيل عليه السلام وقال: بالله العظيم لقد حدثني إسرافيل عليه السلام وقال: قال الله تعالى لي: يا إسرافيل بعزتي وجلالي وجودي وكرمي من قرأ بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم متصلة بفاتحة الكتاب مرة واحدة اشهد علي أني قد غفرت له وقبلت منه السيئات وقبلت منه الحسنات وتجاوزت عنه السيئات ولا أحرق لسانه في النار وأجيبه من عذاب القبر وعذاب النار وعذاب يوم القيامة والفزع الأكبر ويلقاني قبل الأنبياء والأولياء أجمعين.
Sixth hadith. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq reported, by God the Almighty, Muhammad, the chosen one, reported to me. By God the Almighty, Gabriel, peace be upon him, reported to me. By God the Almighty, Michael, peace be upon him, reported to me. By God the Almighty, Israfil, peace be upon him, reported to me. God, ever exalted is he, says, O Israfil, by my might and majesty, by my generosity and liberality, for one who recites in the name of God, the all-compassionate, the most merciful, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, followed immediately by the Fatiha of the book, just one time, you all bear witness that I have already forgiven him, that I have accepted his good deeds and set aside his evil deeds, that I shall not burn his tongue in the fire, that I shall protect him from the punishment of the grave, from the punishment of hell, from the punishment of the day of resurrection, and from the great terror, and that he shall meet me before all the prophets and saints.
This hadith, we called it musalsal, even though it's partially musalsal, because from Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and up fours, you are going to have billahi al-azim, or in some narration, uqsimu billahi al-azim, and it has been completely musalsal in some narration different than this, And here, what I pay attention to, my copy, in Al-Wasaya, Sheikh Akbar, he did mention this hadith, and you should have it by one breath, okay? And when you subject this to the logic matter that you have it in your mind, you are going to govern Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala according to this, which is not a good idea for me. And I have heard this comment, from some people. They say those who work in diving, they are going to be the most successful one. You see, we are bypassing, the most important thing, most important point. What is it? To believe in this, okay? The diving people, most of them, they will not believe in this, and they are not going to practice it, Those who are going to believe in it, belief by itself, it's great matter, to have it, okay? Then, I am judged, according to certain actions, certain duties, certain efforts. Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala governed by these matters? Or He is the absolute subhanahu wa ta'ala? When you recite in Quran al-Kareem that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to change their sayyi'at to hasanat, how can you relate this, Even physically, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he explained it, that this person, in my view, he may be deceptive one, He tried to hide some of his sayyi'at. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed them to hasanat, oh Allah, I have this and this done, You see, he took it, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he took it, from the most physical point, of it, to show that those matters, they may govern me or you, but for no way they are not going to govern Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why you read Yani here, those people, you know, who speak about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or we have the term of arif billah, or knowledgeable in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Really, they have different standard than ours. You know. This is narrated in Bukhari, you know, that Sayyidina Ibrahim is going to meet with his father, you know, in the hereafter. Start blaming him, you know, and his father is going to tell him, whatever you instruct me to do now, I'm going to do it. Sayyidina Ibrahim, what is going? No, get away, you know, these are the texts, you know. No. Sayyidina Ibrahim, what is going to say? Stuck to me, hold me very well, and I'm going to run with you, you know, all over the sirat. When it comes to a person like me or someone else, you know, this is against this text, whereas Sayyidina Ibrahim is much more knowledgeable than me, and he has the full knowledge about the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has the full knowledge, you know, about how absolute is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all of these matters, they may govern me, they may subject me to certain matters, you know, but they never subject Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so here, as I said, to summarize it, firstly, you should have the belief in it, which we miss it, you know, in many, I'm sorry to tell you, nowadays you have many Muslims, they don't believe in it, okay? Then you should have the knowledge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how absolute is He, okay? Otherwise, those ahadith, they are not going to be well understood, you know, if you don't have these items, you know, and they may add some other items, you know, to these too. Then you have the third point, some people, they may raise up the point, you know, that the common rule when you have heavy duty work, you are going to be rewarded much more than when you have very light one to be done. You know. It may be common rule, you know, but not absolute rule. Why? Why it's not absolute rule? Because the Prophet ﷺ did say himself, you know, that the person when he have this word that he doesn't care a lot, you know, about it, you know, is going to be ascended, you know, and upgraded, you know, in the heaven, you know, for many higher, much higher levels, you know, by this carelessly word that he had, you know, which he did not pay that attention to him. You know. And this is, for me at least, you know, I should enrich my knowledge about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I should broaden my knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? And that's why this has been mentioned by some very knowledgeable, you know, speaker, you know, about Allah, namely the prophets, you know, when the Prophet ﷺ, he did say, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to make everyone enter the heaven, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to make everyone go to hellfire, no one has any objection, you know, against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to make all of them go to heaven, you know, their entrance to heaven is not equal to His majesty subhanahu wa ta'ala, His greatness subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what I'm trying to say, we are limited, we are have certain items, you know, this good idea to limit ourselves to them, you know, especially when they come from our religion, you know, that we should pray in this particular time, we should have these 2 rak'ahs, we should have this or that, okay? But when I judge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala according to them, you know, I'm completely wrong. That's why the Prophet did tell us, you know, about that particular hadith. When you have that person who was one of the most righteous person in his time, and he has a friend who was quite sinful, you know, and he kept advising him, you know, all the time, you know, and one time when he observed him, you know, doing some very bad wrongdoing, you know, or whatever, he swore by Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to forgive him, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala got angry with that person, and he told him, who did swear, you know, in my behalf, you know, I'm going to forgive everything for him, you know, and I'm going to take away all of your good deeds. You know. You have, you should have good no initiation both of your people. You know. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is absolute about it. You know. That's what you see. I'm going to tell you about something, you know, bothers me about this country. Okay, Many of the Muslims nowadays here in this country, they say, all of these people they are going to go to heaven. Is this the heaven in your bucket, or something? You should have it, according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regulation. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the creation, what did He say? He just divided them, These are going to go to heaven, وَلَا أُبَالِي. I don't care. You care, you are going to sit down and speak, this is your business, Allah said, وَلَا أُبَالِي. And the others, they are going to go to hellfire, وَلَا أُبَالِي. Okay? Have you seen, and you would laugh, I did see it, When woman, in Manhattan, she is Japanese, Those Japanese people, they are much more far to religion, than the American themselves, She dreamt about 2 minarets, and she ended as a Muslim, Tell me, please, you tell me, what did she do to do that, to become a Muslim? Are you going to say this woman is going to go to hellfire because she did not show any effort? Okay, and here, I know that there is something there, but not according to my regulation, not according to my standard. I should deal with people according to my standards, okay? Some of the people, during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they used to attend the prayer with the Prophet ﷺ. They used to eat with each other, as brothers, They used to sleep with each other, or whatever, One of them is one of the great companions, and the other one is hypocritic. Okay? The Prophet ﷺ, the great man, he did not show the differentiation between them, even though he may or absolutely he does know about many of these people, he used to treat them the same. Significant portion of these people, they are going to go to hellfire. On the other hand, you may have, on the non-Muslim category, a person who lived as a Muslim, Here, this is not your business, okay? The worst position for me when I speak in behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is not my business. I ignore my business. What outcome we are going to get, from this? Okay, there's nothing wrong, of having my daughter get married to some of these people. No. This person, I don't know. I don't have the keys of the heaven, in my bucket, He may enter the heaven before me and my family, But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did tell me, don't let your daughter, get married to that particular person as long as he's not Muslim. I should go by this regulation given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is my main concern. When we bypass our duty and try to take the matter of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or whatever, we are going to be absolutely wrong, Why we are absolutely wrong in 2 aspects. Why? Because we eased up, a lot, toward those people, and on the other hand, we speak in behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never permitted any of us, to speak about it. You read it in Sirah? You read in Sirah so and so, I'm not going to mention the names, This great companion, from attended Badr and viewed. And in the Sirah, you read that so and so. This is his brother. I'm not speaking about something, hidden. This is his brother. And he was hypocritic. He was at the lowest level, of the hellfire, How? Really, my heart gets shaky there, okay? Because this, when I imagine these 2 persons, they used to attend the prayer with the Prophet ﷺ together, they used to eat together, they used to sleep together, they used to have this and that, and one of them is going to go completely different than the other one, Some people, they say, they have very nice characters, they don't break promise, they don't do this or that, Okay. What's about the description of Abu Jahl and Abdullah bin Ubay? What are the description of them? They were ugly face, They were devils, okay, and caused all the trouble. No. They were the most nice persons. In their characters, in their generosity, in their talk, in their behavior, or whatever. But but they did not believe in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For one reason or another, I'm not going to discuss it here, okay? But they did not believe in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is the worst and bad thing, you know. Abdullah bin Ubay was very noble person. And this is, don't believe me, don't take my description to it. This is the description of the Quran. وَإِذَا رَأَيْتَهُمْ تُعْجِبُكَ أَجْسَامُهُم وَيَقُولُ تَسْمَعِ لِقَوْلِهِمْ. You are going to be admired, you know, about their well-built body, you know, and about their talk. And that's the touchy point that the Prophet ﷺ used with Abdullah bin Ubay. Those people of Mecca, they said to Abdullah bin Ubay, you are not excused. You should collect your people, you know, and fight against the Muslims, you know, in Medina and Munawwara. How did the Prophet ﷺ take care of this? Out of the nobility of Abdullah bin Ubay, he told them, listen, if you are going to do so, you are going to find in Medina people, this person did kill his brother, you know, and you are going to make mass disconnection, you know, in the relation, you know, about people in Medina. You know. And Abdullah bin Ubay, what did he say? He said, I'm not going to do it. You see this? He was noble, he was generous, has the best character, but unfortunately, the best we know, he did not, you know, follow the Prophet. And this is, let's take it as a lesson for ourselves, not for the other, for ourselves. You should have full submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You should have full submission to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? I'm not telling you that we have heard this hadith, you know, directly from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we heard the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam directly saying that whoever recite the Fatiha, you know, with Bismillah ar-Rahman, by one breath, you know, is going to be people of it. Am I going to argue with the Prophet, or I'm going to put my head down, you know, and say, Hadir Sayyidi, because you are the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What I'm trying to say, sometimes we become too silly when we try to judge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala according to our standards. This is completely wrong. And this is, you read it in Quran, you know, I'm going to mention it even though it has nothing to do with this particular hadith. أَلَمْ تَرَ إِلَى الَّذِي حَاجَّ إِبْرَاهِيمَ فِي رَبِّهِ أَنْ أَتَاهُ اللَّهُ الْمُلْكَ إِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ رَبِّيَ الَّذِي يُحْيِي وَيُمِيتُ قَالَ أَنَا أُحْيِي وَأُمِيتُ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْتِي بِالشَّمْسِ مِنَ الْمَشْرِقِ فَأْتِ بِهَا الْمَغْرِبِ. The way I understand it nowadays, you know, perhaps it wasn't, you know, this way, you know, few years ago, that Sayyidina Ibrahim wanted to convince that person, you know, he mentioned about very important issue, you know, of our life, which is life and death. All of us, we are interested in this matter, you know. And that person start to deceive and argue. Then he brought to him, you know, something quite far from him, even though the sun is 8 minutes, you know, but it's by lights, you know, not by time, you know, to shine, you know, on us, you know. If you are in charge, you know, if we feel ourselves we are in charge. If you are in charge, you know, of yourself or of your family or your car or your house or whatever, you know. What do you think about yourself? You have humankind, you know, who pass away in the past and you have nothing to do with them, you know. And besides that, you have a massive amount of creation that they are the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you don't even know about them. And beyond that, you know, you do not reach Allah. All of these, they are creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What the Sayyidina Ibrahim mentioned to that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring the sun, you know, from the east, let you bring it from the west, you know. This is not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And those are actions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as a humankind, I'm going to be too limited, you know, when I think according to my time, according to my place, according to my community, according to the UN, according to this and that, you know, I'm going to have everything under my control. I'm completely wrong, okay? And this is, I look at way, for the one who listened to me, okay? It's very good way, very good channel of knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the absolute. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not influenced. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not affected by our matters, Sayyidina Abu al-Hasan al-Shadili, what did he say? إلهي تنزهت أفعالك أن تكون لها علة منك فكيف تكون لها علة مني. Okay, that's mean there's no reason from your side, according to your action. So how come I'm going to have a reason for it, from my side? Okay, and this is just to tell us how limited we are, okay, and how absolute is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Please, again, don't misunderstand me. I'm not telling you to go, unlimited, and no, we have, as Muslim, we have regulation. We should limit ourselves to them, Where are the limited? Because we are limited, in our eating, drinking, and all of the other habits, That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala perhaps limited us, to certain number, of rak'ahs, certain amount that this month should be fasted, you should pay this amount of zakah, and you name it, Whereas Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He wants, as the Prophet ﷺ did say, if He wants to send everyone to hellfire, no one is going to say, why, Ya Allah, you did so, You may have some people in this life, they said so, but no one has the authority to do it, in front of Allah subhanahu. And on the other hand, if He wants to send everyone, to heaven, no one has any objection, or no one is going to argue with Allah. And that's what the Prophet ﷺ said. What did he say? My heart will get shaky, He said, وَلَوْ عَذَّبَنِ اللَّهُ وَابْنَ مَرْيَمَ مَا ظَلَمَنَا شَيْئًا. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to punish me, and the Prophet ﷺ, and Ibn Maryam is not going to be unjust with us. Okay, this is the kingdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What benefit we get of it? Just to have an idea, or trivial idea, or partial idea of how absolute is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's shame on me, to feel that the keys of the heaven, they are in my pocket, I'm going to have very nice places to my children and my belonging, and all of these people, and the one I hate, they are going to go to hellfire, just because it's a matter, of hate and love, which is illegal, which is not governed, by Islamic regulation, and even when it is governed by Islamic regulation, has nothing to do there. The Prophet ﷺ in Uhud battle, which was really, has very bad outcome on the Muslim, You have a famous fighter, from the Meccan people called Ikrimah ibn Abi Jahl. He killed one of the Ansar. These are the people of the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet ﷺ smiled. See the level they asked the Prophet ﷺ and the level he answered. They said, oh yeah, Prophet, you smiled because one of your people killed one of us. You see this level? What did he say, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He said, no, I laugh because he killed him and he is in his rank, in the heaven. Now, after hundreds and hundreds of years, we know that Ikrimah ibn Jahl became Muslim, and he was killed, in fighting during some battles, in Syria, But for those people, for this great companion, they did not know about it, And some of them, they have this thought, and they ask the Prophet ﷺ about it. And you see, why did I bring this story? To tell you how, not our level, these are the level of the companion. You see, even though this is too high level for us, how low it was, when you compare it to, why did the Prophet ﷺ smile, at that particular point? We are going to find the main difference, between how his answer, ﷺ, and the thought which was given, from these people. That's why I have nothing against anyone, okay? But when they said Fuqah Sira, that's me, this is their thought about the Prophet ﷺ. I hate to dictate on the others that this is the only fruit or the only thought that you get from Sira. No, this is the opinion, this is the idea of that writer, that with this, what the Prophet ﷺ meant by it. is it the reality? If it's the reality, in many cases it may not be the reality. When it is the reality, it's partially the reality, not completely. Because the Prophet ﷺ is going to have it in very deep manner, When it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's going to be much deeper, and that's why we should be, if this, even though it has nothing to do, with our subject, but if someone argue with you about Islam, why God, is permitted, for the females and prohibited on the males? Okay, you spend many days or many weeks or whatever, to convince that person, You were successful, to convince. Then he will tell you, why is you should say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Bismillah when you slaughter the sheep. Then why you go 7 rounds, around Kaaba? I told those people, listen, don't waste your time. My mind, my intellect is incapable of knowing all of those facts, given to me from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But my mind, my intelligence, and you name it, it's capable of proving to you that the Prophet is real messenger of Allah, that the Holy Quran is the miracle of the Prophet ﷺ, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is present, Then to waste my time, about all of these matters, this is an endless, list, and whenever you try, whenever you are strong, very strong, in one portion, of it, you are going to be quite weak, in the other portion, and you are going to be silly, and you are not going to convince anyone. And this is what has been summarized by Imam Malik. One person will challenge him, I want to argue with you. Imam Malik said, no, I'm not going to argue with you. Why? Because I'm not ready to change my religion. Okay? I'll be thorough with you. I'm not ready to change my religion. If someone, came later on and he has stronger evidence than yours, are we ready to change our religion? I'm not ready to change my religion every day. And this argument, as you are familiar with, it depends upon many factors. First factor, the personality of the speaker. If they join, believer and atheist, for argument, on the TV. And that atheist, has very strong personality, and the other one has very weak personality. Be sure that atheist is going to be much more superior than the believer. And all of these tricks, I used to live, in US, they have here some courses, to make you good speaker, or whatever. If someone attended this good speaking, courses, and he argued with someone who has no idea, about this good way, of convincing the others, or whatever. This means that the fact is as such, Then you have many other factors. We relate our knowledge nowadays, to experience, My son told me that in one experience they found out the result was against their expectation. What did they say? They did not change their thought. What did they say? They said that perhaps we have this wrong data because the society, has been built on so and so factor, and that's why we have. You see, here, what I'm trying to say, you have passion driving everything. When it's confirmed, by experience, it's going to be shown and well announced. And whenever it's not as such, it's going to be hidden by one way or another. I consider myself, as I am, I know about what's going on. I was shocked, because my brother, he lives now in US, and he told me that they found, a gospel, in Turkey, was written 1500 years ago. That's mean before the Prophet ﷺ, and they mentioned the Prophet ﷺ in him. For me, it was a shock, because I never heard, of this. Then I tried in the internet, to find out this story. To be honest with you, perhaps I I am illiterate there, I don't know. But really, I have hard time of picking up that fact, I was successful to pick up that fact, but it took me much more than when you want to know, about feminism or about some vaccine or whatever, which is too easy, in the internet, what I'm trying to say, even though you feel it's quite open and you may have anything, no, you are fooled. You are judged, by these people, They may direct you right or left according to their wishes, and according to their need. I was really shocked when I didn't know about it from my brother, and it was for me difficult, to get, to know more about it, from the internet or whatever. You got my point, So it's not the way we feel it. It's not the way we understand it. Whereas, we should be proud, of ourselves. We have this Holy Quran with massive exposure to everyone. Anyone, Muslim or non-Muslim, wants to know about it, he has the ability to know it. Okay? You have this Prophet ﷺ. He used to have 9 houses. He used to encourage everyone, tell about his houses, He has this open for everyone, And no one, after those hundreds, more than 1400 years, no one did pick up, any wrong, and any surprise, in the Holy Quran or in the prophetic, behavior, in these houses, or whatever. This is by itself, it's a miracle, I myself, even though I may pretend in front of you, that I'm a good man, but I have some privacy at home. I have something that I don't like anyone to know about it, or to have such a great person like the Prophet had 9 houses, and everything open for everyone. By itself, it's unbelievable. Cannot be. Okay? But it happened, Why? Because of the high selectivity, of the Prophet. We said, in this particular hadith, what did Sayyidina Abu Bakr say? Al-Mustafa, okay, highly selected. Okay, we are not speaking about dirt like me. No, we are going to speak about the highly selected one. And the worst position I'm put at, when you have the dirty person, speak about the highly selected one. I have a problem. Okay, move to next hadith. الحديث الثامن حدثنا محمد بن خالد حدثنا يونس بن يحيى حدثنا عبد الأول بن عيسى حدثنا عبد الأعلى المليحي حدثنا إسماعيل بن إبراهيم حدثنا محمد بن مظفر عن أبي أيوب سليمان بن محمد عن السابع طيب. الحديث السابع حدثنا أبو الحسن علي بن عبد الله بن عبد الرحمن الفرياني حدثنا يونس بن يحيى حدثنا ابو الوقت الهروي حدثنا ابن المظفر الداوودي حدثنا محمد الحموي حدثنا الفرابري حدثنا البخاري حدثنا عبد الله بن ابي شيبه اسكول ابو بكر بن ابي شيبه also عن ابي احمد عن سفيان عن ابي الزناد عن اعرج عن ابي هريره قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال الله تعالى شتمني ابن ادم وما ينبغي له ان يشتمني ويكذبني وما ينبغي له أما شتمه فقوله إن لي ولدا وأما تكذيبه فقوله ليس يعيدني كما بدأني وبهذا الإسناد إلى البخاري حدثنا أبو اليمان قال أخبرنا شعيب قال حدثنا أبو الزناد عن الأعرج عن أبي هريرة عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال الله عز وجل كذبني ابن آدم ولم يكن له ذلك وشتمني ولم يكن له ذلك فأما تكذيبه إياي فقوله لن يعيدني كما بدأني وليس أول الخلق بأهون علي من إعادته وأما شتمه إياي فقوله اتخذ الله ولدا وأنا الأحد الصمد لم يلد ولم أولد ولم يكن لي كفوا أحد.
7th Hadith, according to Abu Hurairah, the Messenger of God, may God give him blessings and peace, said, God, ever exalted is He, says, the child of Adam slanders me, but it's improper for him to slander me. He accuses me of lying, but it's improper for him to call me a liar. As for slander, it's his claim that I have a son. As for accusing me of lying, it's his assertion he will not bring me back as he created me. Abu Hurairah also reported these words from the Prophet, may God give him blessings and peace. God, ever mighty and majestic is He, says, the child of Adam accuses me of lying, but that's not for him to do. He slanders me, but that's not for him to do. As for accusing me of lying, it's his assertion he will not bring me back again as he created me before. Yet the first creation was no more difficult for me than his return will be. As for slandering me, it's his claim, God has taken a son, yet I am the unique one, the eternal refuge. I do not beget, nor am I begotten, and there is none like unto me.
Look, for those who are interested in the chain, this is the most famous chain, of Bukhari. When it starts from Abu Waqt al-Harawi, who is Abd al-Awwal, okay, and all the way to Bukhari. This is the most famous chain, of Bukhari. I think some of those of our people should get familiar with it. Secondly, here speaking about some negative points, from our side. I have spoken a lot, about it, how we judge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how bad we are, And when I read such a hadith, I should feel sorry, I should feel myself, shrink, there, because really these are bad. Slandering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, relate lies to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, we do this, The problem with it, we don't care about it. Okay? If this person is very good to me, he's generous, and he smile, he say good morning, every morning, or whatever. Let him, speak badly about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let him accuse Allah. Let him do whatever he wants to do. What does it mean? You flunk in the exam, because you love yourself much more than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, this is the answer from my side. I'm not speaking about Allah. I'm sorry. Okay, but this is for me. It tells that you love yourself, much more than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this has the description of those who declare that He has His son. وَقَالُوا اتَّخَذَ الرَّحْمَنُ وَلَدًا لَقَدْ جِئْتُمْ شَيْئًا إِدًّا تَكَادُ السَّمَاوَاتُ يَتَفَطَّرْنَ وَتَنشَقُّ الْأَرْضُ وَتَخِرُّ الْجِبَالُ هَدًّا أَن دَعَوْا لِلرَّحْمَنِ وَلَدًا. What? This is going to have this main chaotic, changes in the whole earth, in the whole globe, because this is much less, than declaring that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a son, And this is a main issue. Okay, for me it may not be as such, but this is because I have something wrong inside myself, okay? And here, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did say so, it means it's too heavy. It's too bad, to have this declaration, against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you see that the heaven, the skies, they are going to tear off, and the earth and the mountains. Ya Latif, it's very problematic, out of my experience, Even I read it in the history, 200 years ago or whatever. One of the main differences, between the Oriental people, and the Western people. The Oriental, even the non-Muslim, they will have the religion as the top priority, in their life. The Western one, they don't care about it. They may have number 10 or number 15 or whatever, okay? Be good to me, be good at work, you be good as a nice nurse, RN, okay, or whatever, and go back and do whatever you want, Call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whatever you want, Whereas the Muslim, you cannot be like this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did tell your people, the Muslim, what did He tell you? يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها. This is your task. You are responsible for yourself, you are responsible for your children, to protect them from hellfire. Where is the freedom? No freedom. If the freedom, as all of your people are going to blame me if I'm observing, a boy, or a girl, start burning him or herself, and I'm sitting there relaxing, okay? All of you people, you are going to blame me, and this is for life battle, Even if he has this very bad accident, this is not the end of the story, because that boy or that girl may be in heaven, or whatever. But when we don't care, about our children, for the future, we are in a real bad position. Firstly, because this we have been commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you should protect them, okay? Secondly, this is your responsibility. Thirdly, to give the preference for this burning, of the life fire, over the fire, the hellfire of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Really, we have a problem there, okay? So that's why I would like from myself, I would like from the others to have some changes, of these facts, that we have. I'm going to give you, I'm sorry, I feel ashamed to speak about it, Now, rape is a crime, but adultery is good one, which is completely opposite of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala view. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as described by the Prophet, is jealous. And one of his jealousy, subhanahu wa ta'ala, when a man, from his servant, commit adultery with a woman. We are not speaking about other activities. When a man commits, this is one of the worst position that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be jealous, about it. Now, to be honest with you, most people, they don't care about it. Just, it's my choice, I want to go with this girl, I don't want to go with that girl. This is not my... We have the first hadith here speak, my servant, we are the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are in the kingdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should go according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not according to your standard, Whether, regardless, I feel that such a person who has these thoughts, he is way back, he's weak, at this point, he's not good, at this point, he may be good believer, but he's not good at this particular point. When I want to judge myself, I'm going to scale my thoughts, my look according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala standard. Whenever I feel this is close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I should admire myself, about it, because alhamdulillah, myself, my passion, my all of those matters, they go with the understanding, that given to us, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When I feel myself, weak or did not understand it very well, no shame about it, as long as you keep it, inside yourself. When you start speaking up, against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in certain matters, you are in real problem. That's why Sayyidina Abu Ubadah ibn Samit, what did he say? بايعنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم على السمع والطاعة في العسر واليسر والمشقة والمكره. What does it mean? That whether we like or dislike, we are going to obey completely. Okay? Some of the people, they criticize the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave that judgment, that person, he told me, because this is your cousin, to the Prophet we are talking, this is your cousin. Some of the interpreter of Hadith, they said this is hypocritical. I feel otherwise. I'm sorry to tell you, most of the Muslims nowadays, they may have this response, for this or that, not exactly for the same thing, and this is really bad. This is really bad to have this behavior, against the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ, in all of his life, he did not care, about anything, except to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then that person telling him, this is because you're your cousin? What you are speaking about? To the Prophet you are speaking, by this wording, this is really bad. And the response came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala right away. فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ حَتَّى يُحَكِّمُوكَ فِي مَا شَجَرَ بَيْنَهُمْ ثُمَّ لَا يَجِدُوا فِي أَنفُسِهِمْ حَرَجًا مِّمَّا قَضَيْتَ وَيُسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا. That I swear by your Lord, they will not be believers till they seek your judgment, for any dispute, among themselves, and they are not going even to have any trivial, negative feeling against you, and they come to you with full submission. This is the way. We are Muslim. We are called Muslim. We should have this full submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all aspects. Whether we, I'm sorry, I was asked, certain questions. Perhaps, alhamdulillah, not about Quran or Hadith, about some shuyukh, comment. I'll tell you, I'm sorry, I have no taste there. Don't ask me. I feel this is maybe right, but I'm sorry, I don't have any taste there, okay? And even if someone, had the same thing, for certain verses of the Quran or certain prophetic statement, even though he may not taste, he may not experience, he may not have good thought, keep it inside yourself, okay? Freedom, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you the freedom, to express yourself or whatever, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on the other hand, He regulated you, even from the outside. Your talk, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Man kan yu'min billahi wal akhir falyaqul khayran aw liyasmut." Okay, you are not authorized, to speak whatever you want to speak. Whenever you have khair, good thing, speak up about it. Otherwise, no, shut up, don't speak. Okay, your heart, you should love those loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You should hate those, they are hated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, you cannot control your heart. You may have something wrong, on your heart. When you keep it in your heart, for the sake of the Prophet, as mentioned in Arba'in al-Nawawiyya, إن الله تجاوز لي, for the sake of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, تجاوز لي عن أمتي ما لم تكلم أو تعمل. Okay, you are excused. Okay, even though I don't look at that particular heart as the most excellent one, or that, but you are excused. Keep it inside. Okay, and this is what create the problem. Those people, who are bad, they are going to show it for you in the best item, in the best wording, which attract many of us. And this is firstly, I look at it, described in the Holy Quran. يوحي بعضهم إلى بعض زخرف القول غرورا. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. زخرف القول غرورا. Those among you, who tasted the Quran and they tasted the holy prophetic, statement, they shouldn't go to these matters, زخرف القول غرورا ولو شاء ربك ما فعلوا فذرهم. What's the next step after that? وَلِتَصْغَى إِلَيْهِ أَفْئِدَةٌ. I'm not here to lie, okay? Many of our hearts, or perhaps all of our hearts, they are going to lean forward, وَلِيَرْضَوْا. Then some of us, they are going to accept this. Then وَلِيَقْتَرِفُوا مَا هُمْ مُخْتَرِفُونَ. Some of us, they are going to commit, they are going to practice it. You see, when I read this in the Quran, I felt the Quran is alive, speaking about certain matters, in our time. Okay, give the problem and how and that's why the Prophet, this great personality, was instructed, whenever you see people, speaking badly about them, don't attend this majlis. And this is, even though it has been directed to the Prophet ﷺ, but this is for all of us, If the Prophet ﷺ shouldn't attend a majlis, where they are speaking badly about Allah, that's mean all of us, we shouldn't. Don't tell me that I'm not going to be affected. I'm going to be affected, okay? When you have those TV, argument, or challenge, speaking badly about the Quran, or speaking badly about the Prophet ﷺ, speaking badly about the Islam, I pretend that I'm not affected, But first time, it has what we call in Arabic language kalam. That means there is a laceration, in your hearts. Second time, this is going to be much deeper. 10th time, you are not the same person like when you have the first time, you have heard it, you have heard it in the TV. So we belong to the massive open person, but we are in a time of fitna. This time of fitna dictate on us. We should close ourselves, be in our privacy, seclude ourselves in certain activities, and we may be open, for other activities. We cannot behave the way the Prophet ﷺ used to behave. Firstly, because we are deficient in ourselves, and secondly, because we are in the time of fitna. In time of fitna, when you cut off, cut off in your friends, cut off in your exposure, cut off in those matters, this is much better for you. I think we should leave rest of the time for questions. If you have any question, perhaps I did not achieve a lot, inshallah we'll finish.
When the Sheikh commented on the first hadith, he referenced the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said every good is clarified by him. What is the Arabic of the hadith?
The Arabic text of that hadith, ما من خير إلا وقد دللتكم عليه وما من شر إلا وقد حذرتكم منه. I'm going to repeat it. ما من خير إلا وقد دللتكم عليه وما من شر إلا وقد حذرتكم منه أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم.
This question was written in Arabic. I'll translate the general meaning. لطالما ضمن الله العفو عن حقوق العباد كما عرض الحديث الرابع فما معنى ألا يبعث أحدنا بحقوق أخيه في الدنيا. ألا يعبث. Sorry. So God has guaranteed pardoning people for what they do in terms of the rights of His servants, as was explained in the fourth hadith. So why should we be concerned, if this is the correct translation, with committing offenses against the rights of our brothers in this world?
Generally speaking, in this life, you don't have anything absolute except La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. And that's why when you have two persons, and someone, he did something wrong to the other one, okay, I'm going to forgive you. Second, forgive you. 10 times forgive you. Then I'll tell you, listen, my friend, I love you a lot, but apparently in this life, we cannot meet with each other. Okay? But I'm trying to say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did show us that He's going to interfere to make the others, accept and submit their or excuse, about their rights, But is this absolute? You see it in this life, I see it in this life. You have some people, they keep insisting, I want my right. One time, I gave a talk, about how we should forgive each other or whatever. To my surprise, an elderly man, he wants me to forgive so and I swear by Allah, I'm not going to excuse him. Okay? And always you have some exception. You don't have common rule. Okay? You have many people, most people, they are going to go by this, but you have few exceptions, Can you call everyone, commit prayer as believer? No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described the hypocrite, إِذَا قَامُوا إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ قَامُوا كُسَالَى. Okay? You should either, have this broad looking, that you have the high percentage, of people, who pray, they are believers, and you have some small percentage there of people, they are not believers and they pray. Okay? And in many of other activities, and action in this life, you are going to find the same. And here is the same. My understanding, I'm speaking about my understanding, I'm not speaking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to show the interference, but this is not going to be successful all the time. So that's why you should be careful about it. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is, I just remember it, he told us about the bankrupted person, in the hereafter. Who is the bankrupted one? The one who is going to have mountains, of hasanat, and all of them, they are going to be taken away by some people who have some rights, in that particular person. Do you think that this particular hadith contradicts with what we have been said? No. Perhaps in my mind it may have some contradictory, but in the reality they don't have any contradictory, because this is the common rule, and the exception, they confirm the common rule, they don't go against it.
From Hadith 5, can you repeat the story of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam and his father in the hereafter?
This narrated in Bukhari that Sayyidina Ibrahim is going to meet with his father, the hereafter, start blaming him, and that poor father is going to tell him, instruct me whatever you want to do, I'm not going to disobey. He said, okay, hold me very well, and I'm going to run with you over the sirat. And all of a sudden, when they are over the sirat, the father is going to change to very ugly shape, and Sayyidina Ibrahim just leave that person, and is going to drop down, in the hellfire. Why did I ask myself? Why did the Prophet ﷺ tell us about this? Why Sayyidina Ibrahim did do so? To tell me that the mercy of Allah is absolute. Sayyidina Ibrahim knows much better than me, about those statements mentioned in the Quran against his father, But yet he is much more knowledgeable, about the mercy of Allah subhanahu. And he has a hope that this may help his father, to be saved, or survived, in the hereafter. And that's why the Prophet tells us, about it. To tell us, as I said, for a long time, the limitation is our case, or our circumstances. It's not the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala case or matter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is absolute.
Regarding the sixth hadith, what is al-faza' al-akbar, or the great terror?
I think al-faza' al-akbar, this is one of the names, of the hereafter. Why it was mentioned after Yawm al-Qiyamah, Yawm al-Qiyamah wa faza' al-akbar, to tell you that in such a day, most people, they are going to be terrified, badly. Why did I say most? Because if you remember, the common rule is common and you have few exceptions. And here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala initiated in the Quran, لا يحزنه بالفزع الأكبر. Then the Prophet ﷺ mentioned specifically about 3 items of people, that they are not going to be terrified, in the hereafter. Okay?
Hadith 6. These are 3 questions. They're all related. What's the significance of Michael, Mikael, and Jibreel delivering this hadith? What is the general role of the malak in the delivery of the hadith? And what's the significance of Michael taking the hadith from Allah and then having him in the
Israfil, not Michael.
Sorry, who?
The one who took it from Allah is Israfil, not Michael.
What's the significance of Israfil taking the hadith from Allah and then having him in the sanad? And what are other hadith where he's a part of it?
Perhaps I'm a little bit hesitant, to speak about it. I'm going to speak about it, If you understand it, it's good. If you don't understand it, it's good also. Most of the scholars, they did say that the Sayyidina Jibreel is the best among the all angels. But you have some other scholars, they said no. Okay? And this is hadith, if it's authentic, I'm not quite sure if it's authentic. It's confirmed that there is some angels who are superior than Sayyidina Jibreel. Okay? And namely Sayyidina Israfil. Yani the description, in my mind, I may be right or wrong, that Israfil among the angels is the most one, to have the Jalali and Jamali component together. Nowadays, everyone interested in the Jamali, mercy or whatever, I'm sorry to tell you, even though we were described by the Prophet ﷺ, we have the skin of sheep, and the heart of wolves. We have Jalal Jamal, but in very bad shape, okay? Here, in very good shape, among the angels, Sayyidina Israfil is the one who holds them in very well balanced way. Firstly, you understand it from the holy names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Secondly, you may understand from the angels. Thirdly, you may understand from the prophets. Because you have some of the prophets, they are Jalali, some mentioned by the Prophet Sayyidina Musa and Sayyidina Nuh, and some they are Jamali, mentioned by the Prophet Sayyidina Ibrahim and Sayyidina Isa. Okay, then among the companions who have the same business, you have someone Jamali like Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, and Abu Bakr, and you have someone Jalali like Sayyidina Umar al-Khattab, wa ashadduhum fi dinillah Umar. Okay, and the Prophet ﷺ himself, he was among the humankind, among the prophets, the one who held both of them, in very well balanced way, the way you understand, the holy names, of the Allah subhanahu. Among the angels, according to those scholars who feel that there's someone superior than Sayyidina Jibreel, they said that Israfil is the one who held these two components or contradictory components together, in himself. Sayyidina Mikael was Jamali, and Sayyidina Jibreel was Jalali.
Last one here. There are 3 questions. They're all related about Hadith 7, about someone speaking badly about the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Should we physically leave that gathering? The second one relates to seeing all of the severe sins that are unacceptable and how we should deal with that. And then the third one asks how we can balance engaging these people respectfully about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Islam in light of avoiding those gatherings.
Okay. Let me examine my memory. The first one, I forget, then I remember it. Yes, whenever you have a majlis, speaking badly about the Prophet, you should pull away. You should show your hatred, to have this mention about the Prophet, because you love the Prophet, too much. The worst, scenario of it, when I have a woman, or a man that is going to pull away because they start speaking badly about her child or his child, and they stay for the Prophet. For me, doesn't make any sense, okay? Because this means that you have only the lowest level, of loving the Prophet, and all of us, we should pull away, because I think this has been mentioned in the Holy Quran. This has been practiced, by the companion. The freedom has nothing to do there, because here you are affecting me, you are offending me, and I feel bad about it, Sorry, I have bad headache, I should leave, Here I have much worse than the bad headache, okay? I have bad heart, because I have a lot of pain in my heart, and I should leave, okay? And the second question, I'm sorry, I did not fully understand it. What was it exactly?
We get so disturbed by seeing the majority doing many severe sins, and it's being acceptable, and the measures being so upside down. How can we deal with this?
You, as a Muslim, from males or female side, you represent Islam, in this country. And I'm going to go by the fiqh rule here. What is the fiqh rule? You are going to weigh the advantages and disadvantages. If the advantages, of leaving or speaking, go ahead and do it. If the advantages of being negative, or bypass it, because you don't want, this I deal with it, sometimes, since I'm a teacher of Quran, this young person come to me. If I'm going to be mad at him, I'm angry, he may leave the whole Islam, okay? Because the others, I'm sorry to tell you, the others, they give him candy, and smile at him, and you are a great person, and you are this, and you are that, So here, I should weigh the advantages and disadvantages. This brought to my mind this idea, okay? We read in the books how they should respect the teacher, or whatever, of Quran or whatever. I told them, this has been cancelled in our time, We shouldn't respect, because we should run after those people, We should attract them. We should make them happy, in such a setting, just to make our youth, to make the other, learning Quran, get attracted to these matters too. So don't take any of my commentary, as absolute, but take this rule as absolute. Weigh the advantages and disadvantages. What was the third question?
That was basically the third one as well. Should we engage these people when they speak disrespectfully of Rasulullah or not?
Okay, just see the advantages and disadvantages. Personally, I have been asked, since I'm a speaker, I have been asked, by many mothers, by many fathers, by many friends, please speak about this point, Tell our children, don't do this, My personality, I may be wrong, about it. I don't go direct, okay? Why? Because this direct, speech, in my understanding, is not going to be beneficial for anyone, okay? That young person, if is fully convinced, of doing something or not doing something, when you go directly to him, no, don't do this, he's not going to listen to you. You don't have my feeling. Yeah, I have in my clinic, a young person came to me, loved a girl, and he was kicked out from all shuyukh. I'm not sheikh. He was kicked out from all shuyukh, areas, I look at him, la hawla wa la quwwata, and he felt that I'm involved, has the same feeling, What outcome did I feel, That person shifted his love to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And a young person, who used to hear this from me, he had the same attitude toward another young person, who came to him, complaining of the same problem, okay? So what I'm trying to say, I'm not here to prove myself. I'm not here to speak up about myself. I have the interest, to have the best outcome for everyone. When I feel myself that I'm going to be hurted, about it, I may kick him out, I'm a bad person, be careful, Now I speak nicely, but not all the time, okay? But when it's not the case, I should be responsible for these matters, okay? We are here as Muslims, I'm going to be thorough, with all of your people. We are looked at as the lowest, in this, in many communities, okay? And this is yours and my task, If you got one point, one positive point of the whole text, this is your responsibility to deliver it to everyone. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the people that you are speaking badly about him, okay? The person that I have told you about, who rent that apartment, do you know why did he become Muslim? He used to be in the prison, and they have another person who has the Quran with him, a copy of the Quran, not the Quran, the Mus'haf, okay? And he, by lousy way, let me have this book, This is the non-Muslim speaker, and very lousy. Let me have this book. He said, no, I cannot let you have this book till you wash your hands. That's what he told him. Did not tell him about wudu, I don't know why, don't ask me. But he said, no, I'm not going to let you till you wash you. What's the point, to wash my hands to read this book? Then he got convinced, I'm going to wash my hands to read this book, This is his wording. When he read that 5 pages, of the beginning of the Quran, he said, I felt this Lord, even though he is majestic, and you should be fearful of him, on the other hand, he loves you a lot. You got this point? This is the point making him Muslim. That even though I'm too fearful from this Lord, but on the other hand, he loves me. If I want to make a message, to the parents, make your children, love you a lot. Not love for candy, and monopoly and what. No. Make them really love them. You care about them when they have problems, You feel sorry about them. It's going to be shown in your face. And make them fearful of you. Yes. Make them love you a lot and make them fearful of you. And by this, you may dictate on them whatever you want.
جزاكم الله خير سيد الشيخ.